Hi folks, it's John Nizman from lastchanceautorestore.com. I'd like to share with you an update. This is the 1970 Volkswagen Single Cab Pickup Truck. And in our earlier videos we shared with you where we were doing the block sanding and the body smoothing. We were working on the side panels which require a lot of body work. So as I mentioned in some previous videos or earlier videos, it's very difficult to share, especially in video and photographs, the different stages and what's required for body work and how much block sanding is required to get it from the body level to ready for paint step. So we're basically, this is ready for another coat of high build primer. We're going to be doing another 2 or 3 coats of high build primer. So we started at roughly an 80 grit paper. We went 80 grit, 120 grit, 180, and then 240. And in between each one is we applied 2 to 3 coats of this light gray high build primer, and then we hand sand, block sand every single square inch of this single cab truck, and then we apply smoother where needed because we want to make sure that the body turns out really nice. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to briefly walk around this 1970 single cab truck. I'm going to share with you how much closer it's coming along. Now the camera will never be able to pick up the feel obviously, but with 240 grit it feels very, very smooth. So we've dry fitted the front doors on a couple of times, and we've got all the alignment issues and all that fun stuff figured out. And then as we start coming down this driver's side, you can see there's lots of detail sections such as the filler panel and the factory fender where they meet. There's a groove here that follows all the way along. When it arrived here at our facility, it did not have the grooves. It was just full of Bondo and body filler and all that kind of stuff. So we had to remove all that, and then we measure, mark, and then we make those definite lines back again. And as we come down the side panels, it required a considerable amount of work. You can see, the camera can probably pick it up, there's the different areas where we have some body smoother, where there's fine dings, flaws, or imperfections. When we come down here into the detailing work, this is all done by hand in between all of these louvers and grooves. And you can see where we have some smoother in areas where we need it, where there is some surface rust or pitting into the steel. And then you can see the detail along this rear flare, where you can see there's spots of like bare metal, epoxy, and you can see where we're smoothing that out. And then we come down further, this is where our marker light is going to be, and you can see there's some more smoother here. And then as we come across, you can see once again this definite groove that's back again that wasn't there before. So now we have the proper factory groove that's hand sanded back in. Now as we come around the back, you can see once again, so now we're at the driver rear corner. In previous videos you can see where we've cut out the rusted corners. There's nothing left of them, and we've put new steel panels in place, and then we have everything nice and smooth. So it's coming along really nicely. There is an enormous amount of fabrication required along in all of these sections where the hinges fasten to the truck. So for example, in the back here, the back tailgate folds down, and these sections were rotted out and plugged full of body filler and quite nasty. And then as we come along to the passenger rear side, same idea. You can see where, well you can't now, but where we had cut the panel out and welded the new corner in, you can see once again all the little imperfections. We hammer and dolly the best we can to get the body as close as possible, and then we're using a smoother to get things nice in terms of finish. And then you can see once again, kind of redundant, we have this nice factory seam or groove back in where it's supposed to be. And then as we come down the side, once again, considerable amount of work was done along this panel where there was a lot of corrosion rotted through, and we found some spray foam and different products in there. And then once again you can see the louvers, they're all hand sanded above the wheel well. And then as we come down further where we have the cargo door, before the cargo door section there's quite a bit of work that was done here. and then lots of patches happen across there. As we come towards the passenger front door, same idea. We have the excellent groove here, just like the factory had originally in 1970. So I think the camera can pick that up. And then we have some smoother here where there was some body damage from before. So this part's coming along quite nicely. And then if the camera person can just kind of turn this way, these were in really bad shape. So this is the side cargo door on a single cab truck. And they're quite a large door, and they're susceptible to rust and a lot of body damage, and that's what we're up against with this side panel. So you can see the different colors. So basically we stripped it down to bare metal. We did as much hammer and dolling as we could. There was considerable amount of rust through on the inside frame, which we repaired. Then we block sanded everything out. Sanded all these grooves so they match all the other louvers down the side. Then you can see the black is the black epoxy that seals the steel. The gray is the high build primer, and then we have the smoother. So it's quite a long process because this is only at 240 grit right now. But the amount of work that was required to do this side panel is incredible. So now that we have the 240 grit paper done, it's ready for another couple of coats of gray primer. And then as we turn this nice stand, I think there's enough room in here, we can see the engine lid. So the engine lid, same kind of idea. There was a lot of rust and body damage previously. So once again, same idea that you saw in previous videos where we did the epoxy sealer, the primer, and then we have some smoother. So all the shapes are back to where they were. Removed a lot of body filler from previous incorrect repairs. So our next stage for this 1970 single cab truck is to apply 2 to 3 more coats of this gray high build primer, and then we'll mist it with a guide coat, and then we'll block sand it all at 320 grit next. So we're getting quite close to finished paint. So I thank you for watching. I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.